Nintendo Switch, no power. First thing I want to check in a no power situation like this, once we take a look at the port, I'm going to take a quick gander. Okay, everything looks alright. Is I want to check and make sure it's not an RCM. So I want to make sure my cable is plugged in. And I want to listen for a pickup on the windows. We're not getting one in that orientation. And we're not getting one in that orientation. So, good deal. Now we'll plug it up to the PSU and see what's going on. What we're drawing appear to be stuck on 0.46. That could be Pi 3 USB. In fact, that would probably be what I would suspect right away is 0.46 would be a Pi 3 USB problem. I've been getting a plethora of third-party dock damage jobs of late. So that's what I'm going to suspect before we even look at anything. But we'll take it apart enough to do some testing and go from there. Okay, we've disassembled enough to do some testing. And then immediately had a freeze up on our microscope cam for some reason. I'm going to connect my multimeter and then we're going to switch to the microscope. And hopefully with no freezing and severe lag. Great. We're going to start around the P13 cap or Pi 3 USB cap. That's ground. This one should not be. That's good. And now we're going to follow the traces to the chip and test those sides. We don't want shorts on any of those. Now, some of them will have 2 traces going to the chip. One of those will always be ground. That one's ground. This one should not be. That's fine. Test around on MOSFETs. Okay. Test a low filter. Yeah, we're going to go test all of our little test pads. This one should be ground. Test our fuse. Good. None of these except that one here in this area should be ground or have a pathway to ground. Looks good so far. None of these should. Okay. Now we're going to test around our BQ24193. Again, if it has 2 traces going to the chip, one side will be ground, that side. This one will have a ground one because it has 2. Single, single, fine. Okay. Only one of these should have a pathway to ground, that one. Okay. So everything is checking out on this side. We kind of suspected it would because I'm inspecting the BQ24190. I'm sorry, not the BQ, the Pi 3 USB area. I do want to do a quick visual, but I don't see anything on this side that could be a problem. So now I'm going to pull the board and take a look at the other side. And in order to do that, we'll have to disassemble, which means we'll be back. Okay, we have the board out of the holder, or board out of the housing, rather, not the holder. Well, let's do some measuring. Okay, we want these to be continuous straight through. Not side to side. Okay, on the ground. Okay, our pi is not showing short, but giving the behavior of the system, I'm thinking it is still the Pi 3 USB. We'll do a quick visual inspection of everything else just to make sure. But every time I've run into this current draw and there are no shorts showing, but it will not power up, it has typically been the Pi. And I'm seeing this thing looks pretty pristine to me. Yeah, everything looks good. So we're going to proceed on the assumption that, and it is assumption, it's just a educated assumption on past experiences with the system. And you only get stuff like this with, like I say, experiences. You have to do the work and get to know the device and how it should behave, and run into faults to know what's going on. So there are no schematics or board views for these, so this is how we have to do it. All right, while I am turning on my equipment, let me flip up our temperatures for the day. I don't expect to use the low on the airflow. I don't feel like re-editing that. That was for another job, and that I'm still working on actually. So, all right, get back to the microscope. We will pull the Pi, put another one on, and see how it behaves from there. Just for reference, let's see how it's behaving outside of the housing on power first. And for this, we'll use the PSU. Okay, it's kind of acting normal out of the housing. Interesting. Anyway, we're going to change it because we know we're just pulling 0.46 and go from there. We will test with the battery once we have it off. Actually, let's just be thorough. I'm expecting 0.46 draw with the battery connected. I just want to eliminate that there could have been some possibility of a parts problem causing this. I just want to assume it's a board problem right off the bat, even though I highly suspect it is. I'm not really sure what part would cause that problem. Yeah, we're stuck at 0.47, so as expected. Very good. All right, test again. Testing with the battery. See if we have changed behavior. Boy, it looks like we're just still stuck on 0.47. How interesting. I am no longer that optimistic that we have solved the problem. Seems like we're still stuck on the same behavior. Could do is change over to the battery dongle and try the OEM charger to activate. See if we get any activation at all. Okay, it seems to be doing something. Seems to be doing something, so let's plug it back into the system, see if we solved the problem. And we're back. Okay, we're ready to perform some tests. I think we're going to use our battery dongle for this one. I'm just not sure with my battery wire being as it is. And I'm just going to use our OEM to activate. Try to activate. Okay, full battery symbol. That was more than what we're getting before. That's all I'm getting. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't even have the power supply on. Okay, full battery symbol. And nothing. This particular dongle has been giving me a little bit of issue. So I'm going to switch over to the power squid I made and try this again. I put the suggestion of Jason's Electronic. I made up this squid as well. Put thin to switch battery connectors on it. Alright, let's try this again. Activate. Full battery symbol. Ah! Power up. There we go. Beautiful. Very good. So I'm going to plug their battery in. I'm going to let that charge for a while on the OEM. Well, actually, let me switch back over to my squid. I just want to make sure it's charging on both sides and all that jazz real quick. Just to be thorough. Okay, plug their battery back in. Just see. Oh, they had a charger on theirs. Okay, and now we are fast charging at 1.3 amps. We're powering up. So, it turns out that our guess work on the Pi 3 USB was correct. 0.47 steady draw. It is not an RCM. It will not power up. Pretty good bet that that's going to be the problem. But we're going to reassemble. We're going to run all of our tests and dock and all that stuff. And before we wrap it up, and we'll go from there. Okay, we're back together enough to do some more testing. I'm going to throw it on the PSU. Power back up. Okay, just want to make sure it's charging both Joy-Cons. See if I can get this in a way you can see. Yep, it is charging both Joy-Cons. Test that it's charging on both sides. It's charging on both sides. Let's check our internet settings. Just want to make sure it's picking up all our networks. It's picking up all our networks. Good to go. Whoa, that would not have been good. Okay. Let's try a game. Just want to make sure it's reading without error. And there we go. Picked up the game. That's all I need to know. Delete that off their screen. Okay, we'll set it for a dock test and we'll go from there. Okay, and as you can see, it is docking in the top left there. Show the capture. It's charging both sides, it's docking, it's powering back up. And that's really it for this repair. Okay, in summary, we had a no power switch that was drawing a steady 0.47 amps. We disassembled enough to do some tests. We found nothing shorted on the top side of the board, or I believe it's, let me see, I believe it's side B, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, side B of the board, which is the side you can see whenever you take off the back of the switch. So we tested side B, nothing presented as shorted. We kind of suspected we knew what it was. We pulled the board, we tested around side A on around the Pi 3 USB, still nothing presenting. We've seen this before, so we went ahead and pulled the Pi 3 USB. This is completely a prior experience situation. We've run into this before. We really couldn't figure it out. I actually have a video on this, early video on this. Could not figure it out. We had to go, I think we had to go to the Rossman wiki and get an idea what was going on. But could not figure it out before, but this time kind of had a suspicion of what it was because we'd seen it before at this point. So pulled the Pi 3 USB, put a new one on, tested, and it turned out to be the problem as we suspected. So if you ever run into that problem where you're just getting a steady 0.47 amps draw on your PSU, I think it's pretty similar on the OEM charger. So if I'd been more thorough, I probably would have tested that and showed y'all, or at least told y'all about that, but maybe next time. Anyway, that was the problem with this one. If you have any questions about the equipment I used in this video, take a look in the description below. They're all linked down there. If you like this video, hit the like button on your way out. It really helps the channel. If you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button, maybe the notification bell. You'll know when I post videos. For right now, it's about twice a week. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. And that's really all I have to ask of you. See you next time.